Here we go again with Hillary Clinton. She just cannot help herself. Clinton said Sanders and supporters did not do enough to unify the party in 2016. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton accused Senator Bernie Sanders and his supporters of not doing enough to unify the party behind her White House bid in 2016, and said that their behavior affected the general election. Quote, all the way up until the end, a lot of people highly identified with his campaign were urging people to vote third party, urging people not to vote, she said in an interview on the podcast Your Primary Playlist. It had an impact. Clinton accused Sanders supporters of drawing out the nominating contest by refusing to come around to her presidential campaign all the way through to the 2016 Democratic National Convention. Okay, so there's a lot to say about this, of course. Let's start with the obvious point. You're yelling at Bernie Sanders not doing enough to unify the party in 2016. The DNC rigged the primary against him. Do you have any idea how big of a person you have to be to say, okay, so you stole it, but you know what? You're still the lesser of two evils and you're not as bad as Trump. Therefore, I'll suck it up and I'll help you. And Bernie Sanders did nearly 40 rallies for her. Bernie Sanders did way more rallies for Hillary Clinton than Hillary Clinton did for Barack Obama in 2008. Now, a lot of Bernie's supporters criticized the hell out of him for even backing Hillary Clinton. But I think Bernie made a genuine calculation that he thought she was the lesser of two evils, so he was going to do his best to try to avoid the worst case scenario. But the nerve to go out there and say, you didn't do enough to unify the party. Well, what about you when you were getting debate questions before the debates? In other words, you were cheating in the debates. What about that? What about that? What about the fact that the DNC was acting as an arm of the Clinton campaign and you guys got veto power on their press releases? This body, which is supposed to be neutral and objective, you guys were controlling. What about that? So what about you not even allowing a fair process and then getting mad and turning around and saying, you didn't do enough to support me after I stole it from you and after I rigged it in as many ways as I possibly could? And the other thing is, I mean, these guys are amazing because instead of getting mad at Bernie for accurately criticizing you, is there not a single moment of self-reflection where you're like, well, hold on, maybe the problem is that I did the things that he's accurately accusing me of doing, whatever it may be. When Bernie Sanders went after her for accepting the endorsement of Henry Kissinger, who's a war criminal. Maybe you shouldn't have accepted that endorsement. Maybe you shouldn't have, had him as a mentor of yours. Have you considered that? Maybe you shouldn't have voted for the Iraq War. Maybe you shouldn't have orchestrated the overthrowing of Libya, which now has slave markets and is a failed state. And the list goes on and on. Maybe you shouldn't have supported all the outsourcing deals. Instead of getting mad at Bernie Sanders for accurately criticizing you, maybe you shouldn't have done the things that are being criticized, that you're being criticized for. I mean, that's obvious. But no, there's no self-reflection. There's no ability for self-reflection. And it's absolutely maddening. Now, the other point is, guys, it was just last week that she launched an attack against him. He's running for president. She's not running for president. And what did she say? Well, nobody likes him. Nobody even likes Bernie. So you repeatedly launch attacks against him, the Democratic frontrunner, and then you turn around and you yell about unity. Do you not see the contradiction? Do you not see that you just did the thing that you're attacking him for? How do you not see that? Do none of your actions ever count? And I think she has that thing in her mind where she's just fundamentally incapable of self-criticism. Apparently none of her actions count. I get to lambaste Bernie Sanders on a regular basis, and you have to sit there and take it, and God forbid you respond, then, you're the only problem here. And then, of course, the final point is, guys, 25% of Hillary supporters, roughly, supported John McCain in 2008. So in other words, they supported Hillary over Obama in the primary, and then in the general, 25% supported McCain. Now, for Bernie Sanders, only 12% of his voters went to Trump. So think about that. Double the number of Hillary Clinton voters didn't believe in party unity. They literally had a group when Obama won the primary, and they said, Puma, party unity my ass. So, I mean, it's sheer projection. Does she not know those numbers? It's possible she doesn't know those numbers. It's also possible that she knows those numbers and she doesn't care because she's just trying to hit Bernie and hit people on the left. And by the way, the reason why Bernie Sanders was hesitating was simply to get extractions from you for the American people. That's why he waited a little bit. He wanted to have meetings with you and have you. Now, that's where a normal politician in those circumstances would meet with Hillary and say, what am I getting? And they would mean that from a careerist perspective. So Bernie could theoretically sit with Hillary and say, what are you going to give me? Could I be Secretary of Labor? Like, give me something. I need to be in the administration. I need something like that for me. What did Bernie Sanders do? He held out, sat down with Hillary Clinton, and got Hillary Clinton to sign on to his free college bill. So it wasn't about Bernie. It wasn't about his career. It was about, how do I help the American people? I need to get extractions for the American people. And she has the nerve to turn around and say, how dare he? He doesn't believe in party unity. He didn't help me in 2016 when he did way more rallies for her than she did for Obama. And to say that he and his people don't believe in unity, only 12% of Bernie voters in the primary went to Trump in the general. For you, it was 25% that went to McCain in the general. Every argument she uses is not only wrong, but it's also true of her. It's a true criticism of her and her supporters. So please, spare me all this nonsense. Spare me. Hillary, there's a reason why your approval rating is 36%. And he is the most popular senator in the country. This is literal. Hillary Clinton's approval rating is below Donald Trump's approval rating. Pretty sure that says it all right there.